like more evidence is coming out about Bria Hartley and the Sophie Cunningham attack. So, guys, it looked like more evidence is definitely coming out of the pipeline in regards to Sophie Cunningham and Bria Hartley. Now, we know there was a situation that took place in the second quarter of the game, possibly at the 8-minute, 9-second mark. That is a Bria Hartley, diving into the knees of Sophie Cunningham. Now, we know that play has since went viral. And I'm here to tell you more news is coming out in regards to Bria Hartley.
Picture this. Bria Hartley casually minding her business, then boom, a single photo of her laughing at Sophie Cunningham hits the internet, and suddenly it's trending harder than a cat in a shark costume on a Roomba. Was it shade? Was it comedy? Or was Sophie just having a "did I leave the oven on" moment? Nobody knows, but the memes are flying, the fans are screaming, and this story is getting juicier than a summer watermelon.
Well, unfortunately, as of this second, we don't have an official update on Sophie Cunningham's injury. But what we do have is we've got one quote-unquote injury expert out there that did weigh in based on the camera angles of Sophie Cunningham's injury. We've also got a very interesting picture that has emerged with Bria Hartley smiling and laughing over this incident of Sophie Cunningham being hurt.
The internet is a strange, magical place. One moment, people are arguing about politics, debating pineapple on pizza, or trying to figure out why their AirPods disappeared into another dimension. The next, everyone is suddenly obsessed with one blurry snapshot of a basketball player laughing. Yes, a laugh. Not a game-winning shot, not a record-breaking stat, not even a wild dunk.
We have to talk about it. We have to talk about this because obviously she went down. Sorry. And we got to look at the clips right here. So we're going to talk a little bit about whether or not I believe that it was just completely accidental or whether or not there was some intent in this. So we're watching this right here. Bria Hartley comes up for the layup. She throws the pass and she immediately falls down on Sophie Cunningham's leg. So let's slow this down right here and let's basically watch this frame by frame. So Bria Hartley is throwing a pass right here. Kelsey Mitchell helps in. Sophie Cunningham, in fairness, is not fully helped over. Sophie Cunningham should be a step or two out in this scenario.
Just a perfectly timed photo of Bria Hartley grinning while Sophie Cunningham happened to be in the same frame. And that's all it took for social media to detonate like someone had thrown gasoline on a campfire. Bria Hartley wasn't trending for dropping 30 points, locking someone up on defense, or hitting a buzzer beater. Nope, she was trending for laughing. Just imagine explaining that to a future historian scrolling through digital archives. They'll stumble upon a record that says, "On this day, the world stopped to analyze whether Bria Hartley's laugh was innocent or a deliberate act of shade aimed at Sophie Cunningham."
It's very, very sad and unfortunate what has happened to Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham, let's be clear here. Sophie Cunningham was targeted. Let's be very, very clear here. I can't play you the video because I did one and they flagged it and copyrighted all types of stuff. So I cannot show you the video. But Sophie Cunningham was flat out targeted by a dirty, dirty player. And if y'all go to my video last night, you will see me saying, watch out for Bria Hartley because she's a dirty ass.
And somewhere, future historians will have to write entire dissertations about it. But let's rewind a little because to understand why this laugh set the internet ablaze, you have to know who Bria Hartley is. She's not some rookie who stumbled into the spotlight by accident. Bria has been around the league, carving out her space with grit, skill, and that quiet confidence that doesn't need to be announced with a fog machine and fireworks.
It's interesting, this injury expert speculates, doesn't think it's an ACL, maybe an MCL, or the thing that I considered when I saw it. I thought her knee dislocated, is what I thought I saw. Okay? Hell, I'm no doctor. I can tell you that right now. And we'll look at that in a second. But I got to tell you, this picture, and let me just show you right here. This is some video, of course, of her. Let me just turn this down. Limping off the court yesterday. The good thing is she did walk off the court, folks. You gotta say.
She's been underrated for years, the kind of player who can slide into any system and give you value. Coaches know it, teammates know it, and fans, well, they're starting to figure it out now, thanks to a candid laugh that somehow became an international incident. Bria's reputation has always carried a certain aura. She's not loud, she's not messy, she's not trying to create headlines, but what she does have is timing. On the court, that timing comes in the form of sharp cuts, sneaky defensive reads, and knowing when to pull the trigger on a jumper. Off the court, apparently, that timing translates to her face being perfectly caught in the exact millisecond that Sophie Cunningham happened to exist nearby. Coincidence? Maybe. Comedy gold? Absolutely. And speaking of Sophie Cunningham, let's be honest, this photo would not have gone viral if it were literally anyone else standing next to Bria. If the internet has taught us anything, it's that Sophie Cunningham has a gravitational pull for drama. She's like the league's ultimate irritator, the one who thrives off chaos. You know those players who don't just play basketball, but also play psychological warfare while they're at it? That's Sophie. She has made a whole career out of getting under people's skin, and she wears that badge proudly. So when you put Sophie, the professional agitator, in the same frame as Bria, the unbothered veteran, you get a photo that looks like destiny itself staged it. It's almost cinematic.
Goes and rises. Sophie Cunningham should be a little bit more over. She throws the pass. She is off balance by the looks of things here. She kind of falls and then takes Sophie Cunningham down with her. It's hard to tell. And like, look, this is one of those things where it's like, if this wasn't Bria Hartley, I don't think anyone would be questioning if this whether or not this was intentional. And then I've seen this one right here, Bria Hartley after it, where she's smiling, and I'm like, I don't know.
Sophie is there, existing in her usual state of competitive combustion, and Bria is next to her, cracking up like she just heard the funniest joke of her life. And that's it? That's all the internet needed to spiral into chaos. Fans didn't just see a laugh. No, they saw a declaration, a manifesto, a moment of pure distilled shade that could be bottled up and sold at Sephora. People were convinced that Bria's laugh wasn't just a laugh. It was an entire monologue delivered without a single word. The interpretations flew in from all corners of the internet. She's laughing at Sophie's trash talk. She's laughing at Sophie's reputation. She's laughing because Sophie probably just flopped again. Or the classic, she's laughing because Sophie Cunningham exists. It didn't matter whether Bria was laughing at a teammate's joke 3 feet away or something happening off camera. Context was irrelevant. Of course, this isn't Sophie's first time being dragged into viral moments. She has a long resume of reactions, scuffles, and general antics that have fueled WNBA Twitter for years. She's the kind of player who fans either love for her energy or can't stand because she always seems to be at the center of conflict.
So I'm seeing a lot of this right here. Everybody's saying, oh, Sophie just landed wrong. How is that Bria's fault? So what? Since I've been watching WNBA this year, I've noticed that Bria Hartley is the dirtiest player in the W. Now, if you don't think she's a dirty player, I ain't got no choice but to respect your opinion. See, this is what we got to understand. With a player like that, that's reckless with their movement, they don't care if you get hurt. See, she's not purposely trying to hurt you. She's just being extremely reckless and doesn't mind if you get hurt. There's a lot of that goes on in the WNBA. They do a lot of malicious shit, and they don't really care what the outcome is.
Either way, she's entertaining, and sports need characters like that. But it also means that when she's caught in a frame like this, everyone's immediate instinct is to assume she's the target. The brilliance of this viral photo is how little it actually shows, yet how much it suggests. It's like a Rorschach test for basketball fans. People project whatever storyline they want onto it. If you're a Bria fan, you see her putting Sophie in her place without lifting a finger. If you're a Sophie fan, you're scrambling to explain how this was clearly just bad timing and totally out of context. If you're just a casual observer, you're probably sitting there wondering why grown adults are writing think pieces about a laugh. Some fans dubbed it the laugh heard around the league. Others claimed it was the perfect response to Sophie's entire career. And then there were the ones who didn't even need context. They just started using Bria's face as a universal reaction image for anything embarrassing. Now here's where things get truly funny. People started overanalyzing the body language, zooming into the pixels like it was the Zapruder film. Was the angle of Bria's eyes directed at Sophie? Was the tilt of her head just coincidental? Or was it lined up with laser precision to point directly at Cunningham? This wasn't just a laugh anymore. It was treated like evidence in a federal trial.
I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you guys. I know that sometimes it sounds like just a word when we talk about being resilient, but it's not, man. It's how we live. Yep. It's how y'all live, and it's a tribute to you. It's a tribute to your connectedness, your togetherness, your toughness, your mindset. You never give up gritty attitudes. Like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes, and we will never be counted out. Yep. Because that is worth gold.
The internet turned into amateur detectives ready to testify that Bria Hartley committed first-degree shade. Meanwhile, Sophie, just by existing in the photo, became the unintentional star of the narrative. If you followed her career, you know this isn't unusual. She's practically a magnet for these situations. Sophie Cunningham walks into a room, and somehow the room becomes chaotic. It's her superpower. Some players dominate with athleticism, others with skill. And Sophie? She dominates by triggering reactions. She thrives on it. So naturally, when this photo surfaced, nobody thought twice. They immediately believed Sophie had sparked something, and Bria's laugh was the response. But let's be clear, this isn't a story about Bria being mean or Sophie being clueless. So here we are, debating a laugh like it's a geopolitical crisis. Was Bria's laugh intentional shade, or was it just a human being laughing? The truth may never matter because the internet already decided. The verdict is in. Bria Hartley laughed, Sophie Cunningham got caught in the crossfire, and the rest of us are here to watch the fireworks.
Man, let me find out these refs ain't doing their job and shit, man. I'm trying, I gotta do some research. I gotta see what the clip was, where I was just scrolling like social media and I just seen the news, wherever. And I think her sister posted something about, the refs wasn't doing something right, or calling the game, officiating the game a certain way that probably, was, I don't want to say responsible, but cause, whatever. I just gotta figure this shit out, man. Because it's Sophie Cunningham, right? I haven't watched that many games, watched some highlight stuff over the, past season and whatnot. So I know I'll tune in once the playoffs hit, because that's just how I am with just WNBA, NBA, basketball in general.
The beauty of this viral moment isn't just the photo itself, it's what people did with it. Sports fans have always had an Olympic-level talent for blowing tiny moments out of proportion, but WNBA Twitter, they deserve a gold medal. They dissected Bria Hartley's laugh like it was the Dead Sea Scrolls. Suddenly, people were zooming into her teeth, analyzing the angle of her cheekbones, and declaring that this wasn't just amusement, this was surgical, targeted mockery. One fan insisted that Bria's laugh had levels. Apparently, there was the warm-up chuckle, the mid-tier snicker, and then the final punchline grin that screamed, "I can't even take this person seriously." People captioned Bria's laugh with everything from "when your ex's new partner looks like a clearance mannequin" to "when you realize Sophie Cunningham just committed her 4th unnecessary foul in 5 minutes." The creativity was staggering. The laugh was no longer just Bria's. It became a communal possession. Everyone slapped their own interpretations on it like it was an open-source project.
Sophie Cunningham was targeted, y'all. I'm telling you right now, Sophie Cunningham was targeted by Bria Hartley, and it just is what it is. It is what it is. I don't want to sit here and play games and act like, she wasn't. She was targeted by Bria Hartley, and that's just the fact of the matter. And people can act like it's not all they want. I told you guys this girl was a dirty player, and that's all she did today was show how dirty she is. This is unfortunate. I don't know how the Indiana Fever can continue to survive these things.
Sophie Cunningham, meanwhile, didn't even have to say a word. Her entire reputation carried the weight of the narrative. People already had a library of Sophie-related stories ready to plug into this one image. The theories spread faster than bad Wi-Fi. Some claimed Sophie had just attempted one of her signature hard fouls, and Bria couldn't help but laugh. Others argued Sophie had unleashed a trash talk line so absurd that Bria found it impossible to keep a straight face. They framed her as the silent assassin, dismantling Sophie without uttering a single syllable. On the other side, you had the Team Sophie crowd who scrambled to defend her honor. They argued it was just bad timing, that Bria wasn't even looking at Sophie, and that the internet was manufacturing drama out of pixels. The split was so dramatic, you'd think world peace depended on it.
I got a serious question. Bria Hartley, why are you always at the scene of the crime? Like, why? Y'all, I don't think I ever remember her doing this much like this in one season. damn near every fight, scuffle, some type of crazy foul, something. She been at the scene of the crime like the whole season. I don't know. Is she trying to like make a name for herself with all the tension in the league? Like be known as an enforcer, because the enforcing she's doing ain't leading to wins.
And then came the conspiracy theories. You know you've really gone viral when fans start building entire alternate realities to explain a single image. Some insisted the photo was staged, that Bria intentionally positioned herself next to Sophie just to unleash the laugh heard around the league. Others claimed this was orchestrated by the basketball gods, who apparently were bored and decided to script the WNBA like a reality TV show. A particularly wild take suggested that Bria had been holding on to years of suppressed laughter every time Sophie pulled her antics, and this one photo captured the exact moment it all came bursting out. But beyond the comedy, there's a reason this photo stuck. Sports thrive on rivalries, real or imagined. The NBA has LeBron versus whoever hates him that week, soccer has Messi versus Ronaldo, and the WNBA has these micro dramas that fans feast on. It doesn't always have to be a championship game or a buzzer beater. Sometimes it's just a look, a smirk, or in this case, a laugh. She's the type of player whose stat line might not always jump off the page, but her presence is undeniable because she's constantly in the mix of something chaotic. If there's a skirmish, Sophie's probably in the middle of it.
We've also got a very interesting picture that has emerged with Bria Hartley smiling and laughing over this incident of Sophie Cunningham being hurt. Now, it's interesting, this injury expert speculates, doesn't think it's an ACL, maybe an MCL, or the thing that I considered when I saw it. I thought her knee dislocated, is what I thought I saw. Okay? Hell, I'm no doctor. I can tell you that.
If there's trash talk flying, Sophie's fingerprints are all over it. She's like the basketball equivalent of a professional villain, and she thrives in that role. So of course, when Bria's laugh got caught in a frame with her, the world didn't see coincidence. They saw destiny. What makes it even funnier is how this one photo overshadowed actual basketball. There could have been incredible plays happening in the game. Perfect pick and rolls, jaw-dropping threes, or defensive masterclasses. None of that mattered. Sports outlets weren't clipping highlights, they were posting Bria Hartley's laugh. Analysts weren't debating defensive rotations, they were debating if Bria had just ended Sophie Cunningham's entire career with one chuckle. Viral moments like this get people who normally wouldn't watch a game suddenly invested. They start Googling players, diving into highlight reels, and before long, they're hooked. It's the same way an offhand sideline comment can ignite an entire week of sports discourse in the NBA. The WNBA has been fighting for visibility for years. The viral laugh might seem silly, but it's a reminder that entertainment value often comes from the unexpected.
Start with just what I think looking at the injury mechanism in terms of potential severity, and then touch on whether or not I think this really should be a concern about the intentionality of this play. So first thing first, of course, we're dealing with a right knee injury for Cunningham, and this is going to be contact. Of course, the player for Connecticut is going to fall into the outside of her right knee, and what that's most likely going to do, we can't exactly see her foot position down here, but I think what this is causing is a forced valgus load from the outside of Cunningham's knee, pushing it.
Bria Hartley didn't set out to become the face of subtle shade, but here we are. Her laugh now lives rent-free in people's heads, immortalized as both a meme and a moment of cultural significance. Sophie Cunningham, whether she likes it or not, became the foil, the character against whom Bria's laugh was defined, and together they unintentionally wrote one of the funniest chapters of the season. The most ironic part? Bria might not even have been laughing at Sophie. She could have been reacting to a teammate, to a coach, or to some random fan yelling something ridiculous from the stands, but the internet doesn't care about facts, it cares about narratives. And the narrative chosen here was too good to pass up. Bria laughed at Sophie, and the world will never look at either of them the same way again. Sophie became the unintentional antagonist, and fans became the scriptwriters, crafting their own storylines with reckless abandon. And now, every time these two share the court, the stakes feel higher. People will be watching Sophie to see if she reacts. They'll be watching Bria to see if she smirks again. The laugh has set the tone for future encounters, whether the players like it or not. It's no longer just basketball, it's theater, and the audience is fully locked in.